Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Sean Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling in on them over the next half hour. But first, the headlines that we're tracking right now. Arun Jaitley may not attend the SAARC Finance Ministers Summit from August 26 to 28. Decision comes in the wake of Pakistan's insulting behavior towards Home Minister Rajnath Singh during his visit to Pakistan. Even as Baloch leaders thank Prime Minister Modi for lending support to their cause, Pakistan claims Modi's remarks on its human rights record in Balochistan are an attempt to divert attention from the Kashmir issue. Curfew continues in Kashmir for the 39th day in a row. Fresh clashes in the valley claim at least 5 lives. Many injured as security forces retaliate against stone-pelting protesters. Wholesale inflation rises to a 23-month high of 3.55% in July compared to 1.62% in June. Food inflation soars to 11.82%. And in the Rio Olympics, Shawnee Miller of the Bahamas completes a dramatic finish to win the women's 400 meters gold. PV Sindhu and Hardeep Singh keep India in the hunt for a medal in badminton and wrestling events. Our top story this evening, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is unlikely to attend the upcoming SAARC Finance Ministers Summit in Islamabad towards the end of this month. The Economic Affairs Secretary, Shaktikant Das, might represent India at the two-day event. However, Prime Minister Modi will take the final decision. The speculation comes after Home Minister Rajnath Singh's humiliation in Pakistan during the SAARC Home Ministers Conference earlier this month. Meanwhile, Pakistan said it will play a good host and avoid repetition of the tense atmosphere that prevailed during Rajnath Singh's recent visit.
सार्क बनाने में भारत का बहुत बड़ा रोल है। हम सार्क को महत्व देते हैं। अब ये संयोग है कि जब मीटिंग पाकिस्तान के अंदर होती है और उसमें जो पाकिस्तान का व्यवहार होता है वो सार्क जैसा नहीं होता, बल्कि पाकिस्तान अपनी आतंकी चश्मे से ही उन सब चीजों को देखता है। तो सरकार तय करेगी अभी सही समय पर, लेकिन सार्क का महत्व हमारे लिए रहता है।
किस सम्मेलन में भारत सरकार के प्रतिनिधि को जाना है या नहीं, इसका निर्णय सरकार को करना है। हाँ, एक बात सही है, पिछली बार जब माननीय गृह मंत्री वहां गए थे तो कुख्यात उग्रवादी हाफिज सईद और समातुल्ला इन लोगों को पाकिस्तान की सरकार ने ये अनुमति दी और उन्होंने उनकी ये हिम्मत कि वो हमारे गृह मंत्री के खिलाफ होटल के बाहर आकर प्रोटेस्ट करें। क्या इस प्रकार से दोनों देशों के परस्पर रिश्ते सुधरेंगे?
Now, the United States has refused to react to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's remarks about Pakistan's human rights record in Balochistan. In reacting to questions about the discussions between the two countries, the U.S. administration said it supports any positive step that India and Pakistan take to forge closer relations.
The US is refusing to be drawn into the debate over the Prime Minister's remarks on Pakistan's human rights record in Balochistan. Referring to the dialogue between the two nations, the US said it was for the two countries to determine the pace, scope and character of any discussions on Kashmir. In a veiled reference to Pakistan, Minister of State for External Affairs M.J. Akbar called nations that use the facade of human rights to sponsor terror as hypocrites of the worst kind. Calling terrorism the biggest enemy of human rights, Akbar said India is a nation which believes in faith equality and not faith supremacy. Defense experts have also welcomed the shift in India's approach to the Kashmir issue.
Pakistan is a country which doesn't understand logic. You have got to talk to them in the language in which they understand. Perhaps it is because of that Prime Minister Modi has sounded that if you are going to interfere with the internal affairs of India, we have many other tools with which we can corner you. See, Balochistan has a very serious problem. It is a neglected province of Pakistan. Pakistan has been systematically inducting Shia Muslims there, and making that country part of the country which was essentially had a large population of Shias into a Sunni locality.
Some opposition leaders have spelled out a note of caution on the Prime Minister's remarks on Balochistan. Former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah lashed out at the centre for raising the issue of Balochistan at a time when Kashmir was hit by violence.
सबसे बड़ी समस्या हमारे यहाँ कश्मीर की है। हालात बहुत वहाँ खराब हैं। मेरी सरकार से पहले भी मैंने अपील की कि यहाँ की अपने घर की समस्या का समाधान पहले करना चाहिए।
It is a pressure tactic from the side of Pakistan, and Jammu Kashmir is a settled issue as far as India is concerned. International forums discuss this issue time and again, years after years. And now, if they still say that they want to reopen the issue, simply a blackmailing or an tactics and a pressure tactics. I hope the government of India will not succumb to this pressure, and we should speak in the language we should speak to them. Then only they will realize.
The central government held an all-party meeting chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on August 12th to discuss the Kashmir situation. It was after this that the centre decided to raise the issue of human rights violations in Balochistan province of Pakistan. The Prime Minister also referred to it in his Independence Day speech on Monday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And Pakistan has come out strongly against Prime Minister Narendra Modi's statement in Balochistan during his Independence Day speech. Pakistani leadership has said that the statement is made to divert the world's attention from the Kashmir issue. Meanwhile, the exiled Baluch leaders have welcomed the Prime Minister's statement.
पिछले कुछ दिनों से बलूचिस्तान के लोगों ने, गिलगित के लोगों ने, पाक ऑक्युपाइड कश्मीर के लोगों ने, वहां के नागरिकों ने जिस प्रकार से मुझे बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद दिया है, जिस प्रकार से मेरा आभार व्यक्त किया है, और इसलिए ये सम्मान का भाव, धन्यवाद का भाव करने वाले बलूचिस्तान के लोगों का, गिलगित के लोगों का, पाक के कब्जे वाले कश्मीर के लोगों का मैं आज तहे दिल से आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's reference to restive Balochistan in Pakistan during the Independence Day speech has evoked strong reactions from the neighbouring country. Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's advisor on foreign affairs Sartaj Aziz has said that Prime Minister Modi's speech was an attempt to divert the world's attention from the grim tragedy unfolding in Jammu and Kashmir. In his reaction, Aziz said, and I quote him, "The reference to Balochistan, which is an integral part of Pakistan, only proves Pakistan's contention that India, through its main intelligence agency, Research and Analysis Wing, RAW, has been fomenting terrorism in Balochistan." Unquote. Earlier, Balochistan Chief Minister Nawab Sanaullah Zehri also dismissed Prime Minister Modi's statement that the state was suffering from repression and accused India of inciting trouble. Saying that there was no comparison between Balochistan and Kashmir, Zehri said, and I quote him, "A handful of miscreants manipulated by the Indian intelligence agency are involved in anti-peace activities in Balochistan. People of Balochistan are loyal and patriotic. They love Pakistan and will never support the nefarious designs of the country's enemies." Unquote. Meanwhile, the Baloch community living outside Pakistan has hailed Narendra Modi for coming out openly in support of freedom for Balochistan.
I thank the Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi Sahib, for speaking about Balochistan problem. I thank Prime Minister Modi Sahib on the behalf of whole Baloch nation. And we hope that the Indian government, Indian media, and whole Indian nation will not only raise their voices for Baloch nation, but also strive to help practically the Baloch independence movement.
People of Balochistan are suffering. We hope that you will raise this issue in coming September in UN session.
I hope Prime Minister Modi will play the same role Ms. Gandhi played in 1970s and 71.
Balochistan, the largest and resource-rich state of Pakistan, is also the poorest and most thinly populated. Significant parts of Balochistan are controlled by ethnic Baloch leaders who seek independence and autonomy. Baloch leaders claim gross human rights violations by the Pakistani army and spy agencies. The state, which borders Afghanistan and Iran, is also home to Taliban insurgents, drug smugglers and sectarian militants. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Barely hours after the Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti called on the agitating youth in Kashmir to shun violence and engage in dialogue to bring about peace in the valley, fresh clashes erupted in the Budgam district. A group of protesters pelted stones at CRPF troops, drawing retaliation in which 5 civilians were killed. The death toll in the Kashmir unrest has now gone up to 63.
Despite entering the 39th day of curfew, Kashmir still remains on the boil. Fresh clashes erupted in the valley on Tuesday, killing at least 5 civilians. Many were grievously injured as security forces retaliated against stone-pelting protesters. The violence was reported in the Aripathan area of Magam in Budgam district, where protesters hurled stones at a passing CRPF vehicle on Tuesday morning. The fresh deaths took the death toll in the valley to 63. Home Minister Rajnath Singh took stock of the situation and is reported to have instructed forces to avoid casualties. Opposition parties meanwhile lashed out at the government for letting the situation worsen.
जो हम मांग कर रहे थे बार बार के कश्मीर के जो जख्म है उन पर मरहम लगाने की बात है, तो प्राइम मिनिस्टर उस रास्ते ही से नहीं जाते हैं कि जहां जख्म लगाने की बात हो। वो चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है, पार्लियामेंट में चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। और लाल किले से उन्होंने रेलवे टिकट किसको मिलना चाहिए और अस्पताल में किसको दाखिला मिलना चाहिए वहां तक की चर्चा की, और जो कि डॉक्टर को करना चाहिए और रेलवे स्टेशन के इंचार्ज को करना चाहिए थी वहां तक की चर्चा की। लेकिन कश्मीर के बारे में, कश्मीर के हालात के बारे में या सहानुभूति दिखाने के बारे में उन्होंने कोई चर्चा नहीं की। ये बहुत अफसोस की बात है।
Curfew was in force in the entire Srinagar district and Anantnag town, while restrictions were in place in the rest of the valley. Schools, colleges and private offices were closed, while public transport remained off the roads due to the strike called by the separatists. Internet and mobile services across the valley also remained suspended. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Wholesale inflation surged to a 23-month high of 3.55% in July as against 1.62% in June. Food inflation increased to 11.82% from 8.18% last month, while vegetable inflation soared to 28% from 16.9% in June. Prices of pulses shot up 35.76% from 26.61% in June. Prices of manufactured products also rose by 1.82% in July against 1.17% in the previous month. The RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan has expressed concern over banks abandoning project loans and moving in hordes to meet the needs of the retail customer. This at a time when India needed huge infrastructure financing. He also made a strong pitch for phasing out the government's role in top-level appointments at public sector banks. Rajan suggested that a board of PSU banks must be empowered to take all major governance decisions freely without having multiple constituencies to satisfy.
Authorities have to reflect on their role vis-a-vis the public sector banks. Today we have a variety of organizations: Parliament, the Department of Financial Services, the Bank Board Bureau, the Board of the Banks, the vigilance authorities, and of course regulators and supervisors like the RBI monitoring the public sector banks. Given so many entities you have to deal with, it's a miracle you get any work done.
Now, Amnesty International's India chapter today refuted allegations of any of its employees shouting anti-India slogans at an event on Kashmir held in Bengaluru on Saturday. This comes a day after the Karnataka police filed an FIR in a sedition case against the human rights group. Amnesty India said the charges against them were without substance, clarifying that Saturday's event was only about discussions on human rights violations and denial of justice in Jammu and Kashmir. The complaint against Amnesty India was filed by ABVP, the student body affiliated to the BJP. ABVP activists also held protests against the human rights group in Bengaluru, demanding the arrest of those who shouted anti-India slogans at the Amnesty event. The issue drew reactions from different political parties as well.
The complaint is registered. The police people are investigating. After the investigation, the law takes its own course.
Bangalore police has taken note of the matter. Bangalore police has taken into possession all the videos as also all other material. The videos have been sent for examination to Forensic Science Laboratory. I have spoken to Honorable Chief Minister of Karnataka. Bangalore Police Commissioner has also made a statement. Anybody found indulging in anti-India activities will not be spared.
Patriotic and nationalist people cannot tolerate raising all anti-national slogans. It looks like that what happened in Jawaharlal Nehru University a few months back is being repeated in Bangalore. This must be stopped immediately.
Time for us to take a short break. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
सरोजिनी नायडू स्वतंत्रता सेनानी, कवयित्री और वक्ता, कांग्रेस की अध्यक्ष निर्वाचित होने वाली पहली भारतीय महिला सरोजिनी ने 13 साल की उम्र में रची थी पहली कविता। आजादी के बाद वो बनी देश की पहली महिला राज्यपाल। भारत कोकिला के नाम से मशहूर सरोजिनी नायडू है नारी शक्ति की अनूठी मिसाल।
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Some sports now. And India's presence on the 11th day of the Rio Olympics was reduced to just badminton and wrestling events. In the badminton women's singles, PV Sindhu takes on London Games silver medalist Yan Wang in the quarterfinals later in the evening. Yesterday, Sindhu outclassed Chinese Taipei's Tai Zhu Ying 21-13, 21-15 in the pre-quarterfinals. Her next opponent, Wang of China, is the world number 2 and has a 4-2 win-loss record against Sindhu.
It's gone wrong. And Pusala Venkata Sindhu.
In the Greco-Roman category of wrestling, Hardeep Singh will be in action in the pre-quarterfinals of the 98-kilogram weight class. Singh will take on Turkey's Senke Ildem for a place in the last 8. On Monday, Ravindra Khatri lost his round of 16 match against Hungary's Victor Lorenzi in the 85-kilogram weight class.
प्रयास मैट की पूरी तरह से शरण में चले गए थे रविंद्र खत्री।
Day 10 of the Rio event saw some thrilling results from the track and field. Bahamas' Shawnee Miller won the women's 400 meters in one of the most dramatic finishes in Olympic history, while Kenya's David Rudisha retained his 800-meter title, becoming the first man to do so in 52 years.
In one of the most dramatic finishes, Shawnee Miller of the Bahamas stumbled and then dived across the line to win the women's 400 meters gold. Miller edged out American world champion Allyson Felix to win in 49.44 seconds. Jamaica's Sherka Jackson took the bronze. In the 800 meters event for men, Kenya's David Rudisha became the first athlete in 52 years to retain the Olympic title. Rudisha finished in 1 minute 42.15 seconds ahead of Algeria's Taufik Makhloufi and bronze medalist American Clayton Murphy. With the win, the 27-year-old Kenyan matched the feat achieved by New Zealand's Peter Snell in 1964. In the men's pole vault, Brazil's Thiago Braz da Silva set an Olympic record in front of his home fans as he pipped current record holder Renaud Laveline of France to take away the gold. In a tight contest, Thiago cleared 6.03 meters in his last attempt to win Brazil's second gold of the Games. Ruth Jabeur won Bahrain's first ever Olympic gold medal, blowing away the competition in the women's 300 meters steeplechase. Jabeur stormed into the lead after a few laps and set a blistering pace to win in 8 minutes 59.75 seconds. In gymnastics, American Simone Biles missed out on a fourth gold at Rio after finishing third on the beam. Biles was the favourite to win the event but lost her balance after a front somersault. Netherlands' Saan Bevers took the gold, becoming the first woman from her country to win an individual gymnastics gold. 16-year-old American Laurie Hernandez took the silver.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Olympic medalists.
In Greco-Roman wrestling, Cuban Mijan Lopez won his third consecutive Olympic gold in the 130-kilogram category, equaling the record set by Russia's legendary grappler Alexander Karelin. Lopez took the gold in a dominating 6-0 win over reigning world champion Reza Kayalp of Turkey. In the overall medal tally, the United States maintained the #1 position on day 10 as well. They've now won 75 medals that include 26 gold, 23 silver and 26 bronze. Britain stood at the second spot with 16 gold medals, while China retained the third spot with 46 medals, with 15 gold, 14 silver and 17 bronze. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the international news now, and the U.S. presidential race is heating up with both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump pumping up the rhetoric. Vice President Joe Biden joined Clinton on the campaign trail, praising her for her understanding of foreign policy and at the same time slamming Trump for his. On the other hand, Trump toned down his rhetoric by a notch and did a U-turn on his support for NATO.
U.S. Vice President Joe Biden joined Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton for her campaign on Monday. The two leaders reached out to blue-collar workers in Scranton, which is also the place where Joe Biden grew up. Biden hit out at Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump, saying the latter's remarks that President Barack Obama founded the Islamic State had made the country less safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, does he have any idea the adverse consequences these outlandish comments have on our allies, our friends, and the physical safety of our troops? Trump is already making our country less safe. No major party nominee in the history of the United States of America has, no, don't cheer or quiet, just listen, has known less or been less prepared to deal with our national security than Donald Trump. And what absolutely amazes me, that he doesn't seem to want to learn it.
The Vice President's remarks came as Trump was delivering a major foreign policy speech in the battleground state of Ohio, where the business tycoon turned presidential nominee reverted from his earlier stand on NATO.
He talked about letting Syria become a free zone for ISIS, a major country in the Middle East that could launch attacks against us and others. He's talked about sending ground troops, American ground troops. Well, that is off the table as far as I am concerned.
We will also work very closely with NATO on this new mission. I had previously said that NATO was obsolete because it failed to deal adequately with terrorism. Since my comments, they have changed their policy and now have a new division focused on terror threats. Very good. Very, very good. I also believe that we could find common ground with Russia in the fight against ISIS.
The big contrast in the two campaigns is the kind of support both nominees are getting. Biden's show of support for Clinton is in stark contrast to the several Republicans distancing themselves from Trump. Trump has also fallen behind Clinton in recent opinion polls, giving a clear indication that his aggressive rhetoric is not getting him too many voters. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Some more international news now in Global Buzz. China has launched the world's first quantum satellite that boasts of establishing hack-proof communications between space and the ground. The satellite was launched from a launch center in the Gobi Desert. The 600-plus kilogram satellite will circle the Earth once every 90 minutes after it enters orbit. About 2,000 residents in Havelock North in New Zealand's North Island have fallen ill with gastroenteritis by possible contamination of the town's water supply. schools in the area have been closed since the outbreak. The local hospital is filled with sick people, with even the staff falling ill. The council is investigating to determine the cause of the contamination. An airstrike on a Yemeni hospital killed at least 11 people, injuring 15 others. The hospital is operated by humanitarian group Doctors Without Borders. The strike was the latest in an increasing number of attacks targeting places used by civilians, including hospitals where MSF doctors and nurses work. China could be ramping up its attempt to reclaim the Scarborough Shoal, a disputed territory in the South China Sea. The emerging superpower is likely to take action after the G20 summit next month, but before the US presidential election in November. The hotly disputed Scarborough Shoal has long been claimed by China, Taiwan, and the Philippines. Well, that's all from us. Goodbye.